visit to a place of worship is complete without the classic temple offerings to please and propitiate the gods. It's estimated that around 800 million tons of flowers are offered at temples, dargahs and in gurdwaras across the country. But the next day when these offerings are cleaned up, they turn to waste and become a massive problem for the environment. Since flowers in temples are considered sacred, they aren't dumped in landfills. They are instead typically disposed of in ponds, lakes and rivers, posing a threat to water quality and marine life. While industrial waste has a huge role to play in polluting our water bodies, floral waste isn't too far behind. As per research by Pradip Kumar Maity, roughly 8 million tons of floral waste is dumped into water bodies and rivers in India every year, choking and polluting them. But some brands and individuals have now taken the responsibility of turning temple waste into gold. One of them is Jigisha Shukla from Vadodara, running a sustainable clothing brand called Bagia. Bagia not only promotes handwork and crafts but also gives a purpose to floral waste in their second life as natural dyes that bring color and texture to their line of sustainable clothing.
So Bagia is a natural extension. Like I have been practicing sustainability living since I understood the meaning of living in sync with the nature, and that's how I thought of working with crafts. But then I thought that let's create something which is entirely biodegradable and entirely in sync with nature. So that's how Bagia came into existence, where we work with weavers across India. So we procure fabrics from weavers across India, and then we do the printing with temple flowers and herbs.
Jigisha and her team collect floral waste from nearby temples. They often get floral waste from weddings as well. The flowers go through extensive treatment before they're applied to fabric. The process includes around 15 steps, and the fabric that will eventually be dyed is procured from weavers who work with organic cotton, tussar silk and chanderi silk.
We collect temple flowers, used temple flowers to create prints. So we work with temple flowers and herbs to create those prints. So when it comes to temple flowers, we use roses, marigold, and we also use, when it comes to leaves, we use amrud ki patti and all of those. And with the herbs, we use indigo, walnut, katha and all of those. Once we have procured the fabric, we process the fabric. So there are there is a scouring where we wash the fabric so that the impurities of the fabrics are gone. Then we do the mordanting process so that the fabric gets ready to take up the dye. So mordanting is usually done with aloe vera or fitkari, alum. And then we lay the fabric, we create the pattern on the fabric however we want, and then the fabric is rolled. And then it's steamed, and then we do the post-mordanting processes again with alum, aloe vera and salt, and that's the final product.
Apart from being biodegradable and organic, the floral dye has other advantages too. This dye isn't just good for the environment but also for the mind, body and soul.
Like in Ayurveda is a branch of science. It's a branch of the clothing science. So it is said that when you wear something which is naturally dyed with herbs and with flowers, and if the garment is it's an organic fabric, then it actually rejuvenates your body. It imparts therapeutic properties to your body. So when you wear something which is chemically dyed or of a synthetic fabric, you would often have seen that it makes you very uncomfortable. If there is a harsh sun, you would feel that it will make you very uncomfortable. But when it comes to the natural dyes, they have this innate property of it makes you warm in winters and cool in summers. So that's the beauty of the natural dyed, and that's the beauty of the khadi fabric. When it comes to the natural dyeing, the extract which is left, they can be used to make compost, And when it comes to the chemical dyeing, whatever extract or whatever leftover is there, it actually reduces the fertility of the soil.
Every business comes with a challenge, and the biggest challenge for Jigisha was to convince the priests at the temple to give her the floral waste. But she knew just what to do to convince them.
I took a couple of the garments to the different temples, and then I showed them that, this is how marigold looks on the fabric. This is how roses looks on the fabric. So they were quite supportive. And we even created some of the outfits for the gods, like wherever I have taken the temple flowers, I have created something for the god, like Ganesh ji ke liye kuch bana hua hai, Shiv ji ke liye kuch bana hua hai, Parvati ji ke liye, matlab, like I have created some of them, and that's how they got to know about the entire process.
Though eco-printing has been practiced in India for a very long time, some artisans are still new to this concept. Training the artisans is another challenge faced by Jigisha.
So with the eco-printing, you don't get the artisans who are like, who have been practicing that art form since generation. So when we talk about ajraks, or when we talk about block printing, or when we talk about bandhni, those tie and dye, you have the artisans whose generations have been into this craft. So you can procure them, or you can tell them the design and they can make it for you. But here you have to train normal women into this art form. You have to explain them that they are basically artisans, they are not the laborers. So that's a major challenge which I have been facing till now.
Bagia is not only turning waste into a resource, but the process followed for dyeing a piece of cloth is also eco-friendly. The water is used to wash utensils or mop the floor before it's discarded. The chemicals in the water are within permissible limits and hence don't pollute the groundwater.
When we work with the flowers and herbs, we are actually working with the raw material, which is actually a wastage for some. Right? We are collecting temple flowers. We are not buying another resource. We are collecting them. So then we do the printing again on the hand woven or the handcrafted machine, which generates employment for millions of the weavers and which uses less energy for its production. So there you actually save on the energy. And the third part, where you do the steaming, we make sure that we have enough bundles to steam. We don't steam like 6 meters or 10 meters. We make sure that we have specific quantity when it goes to the steaming. And whatever leftover is there, we use it to create compost. Like it's used for fertilizers in farms.
Sustainability comes naturally to Jigisha. She always saw her father avoid the waste of resources. She believes it's the small contributions that matter.
I remember my dad is like very finicky about his polythene bag. वो बड़े बैग में इतना छोटा सामान नहीं रखेंगे या छोटा कचरा नहीं फेंकेंगे. You would be like कि कचरा फेंकते रहो फिर उसको डंप करेंगे. Like a very small example. And he is very finicky about कि टैप ओपन नहीं है ना. अगर किसी का भी टैप ओपन होगा तो वो बहुत गुस्सा करेंगे कि पानी क्यों वेस्ट कर रहे हो and all of those things. So Bagya is a very natural extension for me. I love crafts. And so I thought of Bagya, where I can create crafts, like I can work with the weavers across India, and then I can do the natural dyeing and create a complete sustainable product.
By reusing floral water and giving opportunities to local artisans, Jigisha and her brand Bagya are creating clothes with a conscience.
We need to realize that. And also textile industry is the second most polluting sector of the entire world. So as a citizens of the world, we need to be really careful of what we are offering to the next generation. Even if you think twice before buying the another outfit, that's actually commendable.
Another group putting temple waste to good use are the students of Aryabhat College in Delhi University. Members of the college club in Actis Aryabhat, these students run several community-based projects, one of which is Project Palash. The project started in 2019 with a vision to safeguard life underwater by tackling the problem of poor waste management in urban temples.
The whole idea behind it came when one of our team members went to a wedding and he saw that the wedding was filled with flowers, and I think as Indians we have seen flowers everywhere, be it as offerings in temples or decorations, and it is an integral part of every Indian's life. So I think that was where the idea initiated, because it sparked the curiosity that what happens to these flowers. We generally think of any plant-based product as biodegradable, and same is the case with flowers. So we tend to have this association with it that it is not harmful. But when we researched more about it, we learned that that is not the case. We found out that these flowers, they go into various water bodies and they actually release harmful toxins which can harm the marine life and the environment in general. So that sparked the idea that we need to find out a way, a method to utilize this floral waste.
The project has tied up with a couple of temples across Delhi. The team collects around 300 to 400 kilograms of flowers from the temples on a weekly basis and takes them to a production facility, which is an NGO. Project Palash has collaborated with several NGOs across Delhi, giving employment opportunities to a wide range of people.
The first NGO that we collaborated with Palash was this top NGO only. So it caters and provides shelter to the victims of human trafficking. And then we have expanded into collaborating with different NGOs or different communities. And as we diversified further, we had many collaborators as well, and we tapped into their market and their human resource as well, uplifting them in turn. So if I have to give a number, I'd say Palash directly employs around 400 to 500 beneficiaries in all its vertical, in all its seasonal campaigns throughout the year.
Though the project has been running since 2019, in the first year the focus was mainly on prototyping various techniques and designs. Since then, Project Palash has definitely had an impact on the environment.
I'd say that we have a calculated impact in the last year or so of reducing 30,000 kilos of chemical pollution. That is the amount of chemical pollution that we have reduced through us dyeing and offering a substitute to synthetic dyes. Other than that, we have salvaged over 7,000 to 8,000 tons of 7,000 to 8,000 kilos of floral waste. So these are the impact metrics if I talk in environmental sense for Project Palash.
Apart from promoting sustainability, these young entrepreneurs are also tackling several of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, starting with the one relating to life underwater.
We aim to improve the life below water, improve the life for marine life, and basically by utilizing floral waste, giving them another life, we prevent the chemical toxins from being released there. Other SDGs are life on land, since we are also reducing pollution on land by making sure that the floral waste does not end up in landfills and thus seep into the soil and reduce soil quality. Other SDGs are no poverty, ensuring education, and then zero hunger. So these are some of the SDGs that we are tackling.
Once the floral waste is collected, it is segregated. The petals are separated and boiled for easy extraction of color. The team also uses natural products and fabrics so that the color can last longer. A dye bath is made in which the prepared cloth is dipped. Once dipped, the cloth catches color and is put out to dry in the shade so that the color doesn't fade. Needless to say, Project Kailash has also impacted the personal choices of those associated with it.
So throughout my association with this project and in general when I've read about this, I found out that sustainability more than more than choice, it is about accessibility. They're offering lots of sustainable choices, but the main concern remains how accessible are they, and even if they are accessible, if the people to whom they're reaching out to, can they afford them? Because sustainability is generally a bit more expensive than the normal fast fashion brand. So I think that is the main discussion that we need to have, how to make sustainable brand more accessible. I knew about climate change, I knew about the sustainable choices that are there, but I never made any conscious effort toward actually adopting them before I joined this project. Because once you're associated with such a project and you're actually working towards this, you start relating to that cause. When you put in your man-hours, that cause becomes much more important to you. So that is something that we need to figure in, and that is something that really hit me the most. I think that is one of the major changes that I have experienced in myself. I've started consciously taking more sustainable choices, more sustainable decisions. It can be something as small as reusing something or buying sustainable clothing in general.
8 million tons. That is how much floral waste a study estimates is choking and polluting our water bodies and rivers each year. But temple waste isn't just flowers. Often old clothes offered to the gods are also dumped into our rivers, too sacred to be disposed of as garbage. Certain rituals also demand the offering of clothes, milk, flowers by floating them down a river or into a lake. These 8 million tons are killing fish and other water life, creating chaos in a fragile underwater ecosystem and causing enormous water pollution, impacting humans as well. But Nirmalay is working hard to protect our rivers and the environment. Formerly known as Recycle Astha, Nirmalay was set up by Rajiv Bansal in the year 2020. The brand strives to restore these sacred temple offerings by transforming them into eco-friendly products.
2019 में मैंने किसी एक मंदिर में विजिट किया था, तो वहाँ मैंने कुछ महिलाओं को अगरबत्ती बनाते हुए देखा फूलों से। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि ये तो बहुत सोशल वो है कि हम श्रद्धा से जो भगवान को ऑफर करते हैं, नेक्स्ट डे देखते हैं कि वो या तो वाटर बॉडीज में डंप किए जाते हैं या कूड़े में चले जाते हैं, तो बड़ा एक हर्ट होता है। बट लेकिन उसी चीज़ को रिसाइकल करके अगर अगरबत्ती बन रही है तो दिल को बहुत एक अच्छा लगा। तो फिर मुझे लगा कि क्यों ना हम इसको अपने दिल्ली में स्टार्ट किया जाए।
And that's how Nirmalay's journey began. In the beginning, it was only about incense sticks made out of flowers.
देखिए कि स्टार्टिंग में सबसे पहले जब हमने मंदिरों से टाई अप किया तो सिर्फ फ्लावर के बारे में हमने उनसे बात की थी। बट लेकिन जब हमने कलेक्ट करना शुरू किया तो खाली फ्लावर नहीं, मंदिरों से फ्लावर के साथ में प्रसाद, दूध की थैली और भगवान जी के ऊपर चढ़े हुए वस्त्र और बहुत सारी चीज़ें, खंडित मूर्ति, बहुत सारी चीज़ें आती थी। तो फिर हमें लगा कि हम खाली फूलों को रिसाइकल क्यों करें, जितना निर्माल्य हमें मिल रहा है हम हर एक चीज़ को रिसाइकल करें।
After extensive research and development, they devised a plan to address this waste mismanagement in a more holistic manner.
जैसे कि फूलों से हम अगरबत्ती, हवन सामग्री, धूप स्टिक्स ये बनाते हैं, और जो भगवान जी के वस्त्र हैं उससे फॉर्चून पोटली एनवलप जो शगन देने के लिए काम आता है, और बंदरवाल घर में जो डेकोरेशन के लिए, तो जो हमारे मास्टर जी उसकी R&D करते हैं, जो भी वस्त्रों से बनता है वो हम बनाते हैं। दिल्ली में 300+ टेम्पल से हमारा कॉन्टैक्ट है, सबको हमने अपना नंबर प्रोवाइड किया हुआ और उन सब का नंबर हमारे पास है। तो जब भी उनको किसी भी चीज़ की रहती है कि ये निर्माल्य ज़्यादा इकट्ठा हो गया तो वो हमें कलेक्ट करने के लिए कॉल करते हैं, तो हमारी गाड़ी जाती है और वहाँ से कलेक्ट करके ले आती है।
In India, mountains of chunnis and vastras are generously offered to the gods. But what happens to them the next day, or the next week, or the next year? In order to prevent them from ending in landfills or water bodies, Rajiv decided to upcycle the clothes with the assistance of women artisans.
कपड़ा मंदिरों से आता है और कभी तो हमारे फूलों के साथ में हमारी गाड़ी के अंदर भी आ जाता है। जब बहुत सारा वस्त्र इकट्ठा हो जाता है तो मंदिर वाले स्पेशल हमें कॉल करके बुलाते हैं, तो फिर वो पूरा वस्त्र हम वहाँ से लेकर आते हैं। उसके बाद में ऊपर लेडीज़ उनकी सेग्रीगेशन करती है कि उसमें से जो वस्त्र बिल्कुल नीट एंड क्लीन है तो मास्टर जी उसको प्रोसेस में लेके लेडीज़ को पूरा उसकी ट्रेनिंग देते हैं और प्रोसेस में लगा के हम उसकी पोटलीज और वो सब चीज़ें बनाते हैं। पहले हम देखते थे कि ये सब चीज़ें लैंडफिल के अंदर या वाटर बॉडीज़ में या कूड़े के ढेर में बांधी जाती थी। हम देखते थे कि भगवान पे चढ़ा हुआ निर्माल्य इतना पवित्र है और उसको कूड़े के ढेर में देखना बड़ा दुखदाई होता था। बट लेकिन अब दिल को एक सुकून मिलता है कि हाँ, अब हम उसको रिसाइकल करके या प्रोडक्ट्स बना रहे हैं, रीयूज़ के उसके वो बना रहे हैं, तो एक दिल को अच्छा लगता है।
Using waste as a resource, saving life underwater and promoting sustainability by empowering artisans is how Baghiya, Project Palash and Nirmalek are creating clothes with a conscience. Now you know how to make the best out of waste, and it's not so hard.